2 News begins now.
Thank you for joining us on KREM 2 Plus. I'm Tim Pham. This is your KREM 2 News Week in Review. Join us as we take a closer look at some of the biggest stories in the inland Northwest this past week.
The child Madison is okay, and now I've been in contact with her family to see if I could get any more updates for you all at home, but at this time the family is requesting privacy.
The specific campsite where the incident happened, we did find attractants both around and inside the tent itself where this incident took place. There were some notes about some unsecured attractants in the rest of the campground as well.
That's why 3-year-old Madison was attacked by a black bear while she was sleeping in a tent near Red Lodge, Montana late Sunday night. After the attack, Madison was taken to a medical facility in Billings where she's getting treatment for her injuries. Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks posted an update a day later that a bear matching the description of the one responsible for the attack had been caught and killed. FWP says the bear had no history of conflict but had likely become food conditioned and was used to humans after getting into unsecured attractants in the area. Chrissy Webb, the Region 5 Communication and Education Program Manager for FWP, says this isn't unusual behavior for grizzlies or black bears in the area.
Bears, both species of bears, are very curious animals. They are both omnivore species, so that means they eat a wide range of different foods. And because of that curiosity, anything with a scent can potentially draw them into an area.
That's why having bear spray at the ready, keeping your campsite clean, and not having anything with a scent inside of your tent, which includes chapstick and toiletries, are very important when out in the wilderness. Webb recommends campers store those attractants in a car or certified bear-resistant container. Madison's family has set up a GoFundMe page to help take care of medical needs as she continues on her recovery journey. Christian Garza, KREM 2 News.
We have now confirmed Nadia Cole, the fiancée of Aaron Ong, is the third person facing charges in this case. She was indicted along with Ong and his father James on August 7th. Federal records show Cole's attorney appeared in court Wednesday, allowing this indictment to be fully unsealed. The case started back in May after Cole disappeared from Seattle's airport instead of boarding a flight with her family. Security video captured her walking toward the light rail. Days later, Pullman police linked Cole's disappearance to Aaron Ong and his daughter, who were also missing after he failed to return the girl to her mother. Investigators called it more than coincidence. Cole vanished at the same time. The federal charging document shows Ong picked up Cole at a pre-designated location in Tacoma, then they crossed the Mexican border. Cole and Ong stayed in Mexico with his daughter for around a month until early July. All three were contacted by Mexican officials July 4th. Only Cole was deported at that time. Ong and his daughter were in the country 3 more days before his arrest. We've also learned tonight Cole is not in custody. She's been served a summons and is expected to be in Eastern Washington's federal court September 6th. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
Since the end of June, 2-year-old Matteo Elliott has faced the toughest challenge of his young life. According to family, his right foot is gone after it was run over by a riding lawnmower.
Made it even harder knowing that someone I've watched grow up had such a horrible injury.
Angela Axelson is a close family friend.
I've been friends with Matteo's mom for about 10 years.
She created this GoFundMe to help Matteo's parents and share what happened. Angela says the daycare owner was the person mowing the lawn.
2-year-old Matteo wanted to speak with her and went running up to the lawnmower and slipped and fell and went under, and his right foot was amputated.
The Quincy Police Department investigated the case and did not find enough evidence to send it to prosecutors for criminal charges. In a separate investigation, the Department of Children, Youth, and Families suspended Rodriguez Daycare's license. The agency continues to investigate.
Yes, accidents can happen, but when you are paying someone to take care of your children, they should be able to trust that provider to take complete care of them.
Now, Angela says Matteo's family is ready to bring him home and help him adjust to this new normal.
Keep praying for the family and pray that he has a quick recovery and they can get home soon and try to resume life as normal as they can.
Spokane's police department is no stranger to property crime, but this is a new one, the theft of a property. You can see what remains of the front porch left behind.
It didn't feel real. It still kind of doesn't feel real.
Karen Potter got the call Monday morning. A thief drove away with her dream tiny home in tow.
It doesn't feel like I've lost an object that I can just go replace. It's felt like losing a loved one. It's felt like a loss of a relationship.
A relationship that started 12 years ago, one she documented.
So this would have been 2018, so about a year after I had moved into it.
On the home's Instagram page.
And something I did not expect about living tiny was how much my mental health improved.
The dream took a detour during the pandemic. So she parked the home in storage in 2021. Her plans to return to tiny living soon hit another hitch when someone hitched up to her trailer inside the storage facility's locked gates.
My understanding is that they actually took the iron fence apart. So they were very prepared.
Leaving her out of house and home, but not without support.
I think that people connect with the idea of how violating it is that somebody would take your home. You know, again, it's not a thing, it's not an object, it's a piece of who you are.
The tiny home community is sharing her story as far as Massachusetts, with hope her home away comes home to stay. Shannon Mowdy.
Spreading the word and then being on the lookout for the vehicle, of course for my home. I think it'll be pretty clear that that's my house.
KREM 2 News. One year. By taking a look back, you can see just how far Spokane County has come.
It's surprising to me. Other long-term recovery groups, especially ones that deal with wildfire, keep telling us, like, you're moving really quickly. And
Jennifer Thomas says the work for a new long-term recovery group began in the week after the Oregon Road and Gray fires. And while progress has been made, there's still a ways to go.
there are over 100 families who are still displaced, specifically more than 30 living in RVs in the Elk area, and there's a lot of need.
Compiling building records from the county, Thomas says only around 20% of displaced families between Elk and Medical Lake have returned to new homes. And building permits show some people may have started the process in some fashion.
I would say 50% of the community has not started rebuilding their lives in a way that is for a long-term purpose. It's still kind of like a big temporary Band-Aid.
And moving forward, it will likely be donations and volunteers doing much of the heavy lifting in that recovery, such as the 20 women from Sister Corps here who are building pump houses.
We come from all walks of life. I mean, from nurses and teachers and shopkeepers and anything but carpentry.
And President Leanne Moore says they've come from all over the country this week to help. Many of these materials were donated. So far, other agencies have built 8 homes for underinsured families. 5 temporary Connex houses are also sheltering people. Next month, the long-term recovery group will launch a full-scale rebuilding campaign.
We're like 14% of the way, but I'm guessing that it's going to be about $5.5 million when everything's said and done.
The group hopes to have the majority of families back in homes by next summer. Shannon Mowdy.
It's not impossible, but it's very ambitious. It doesn't happen like that in most communities.
KREM 2 News.
Idaho Governor Brad Little got a bird's eye view of the Gwen and Texas wildfires here in Nez Perce County. After the tour, he landed right here in a Black Hawk and addressed the community.
Okay, here's my 1 o'clock update.
All eyes have been on the Gwen and Texas fires, including the eyes of local farmers like Robert Blair.
Fire is our biggest fear.
That's why when the Gwen fire reached the property across from his, Robert jumped into action.
There's a rig down on the point. You can see him there.
He put his eyes to work, keeping watch of the fire's movement.
I was keeping those that needed to know informed about its progress.
On his watch, Robert saw his fellow farmers do what they could on their property to bring the fire to a halt. The first thought that came to mind?
We need air resources ASAP.
And he watched when those professional resources came. Then Idaho Governor Brad Little came and toured the wildfires from above. He thanked all the agencies for their quick action.
It is incredibly important to us that we save first life, then property.
Even noting the work of the farmers he saw firsthand from a bird's eye view.
I was struck flying over about the miles and miles and miles and miles of fire line that have been put on by the local local farmers. Had they not done that, this fire would have been enormously larger.
Idaho Department of Land says the Gwen fire burned nearly 29,000 acres, destroying 38 primary residents. That's 25 houses and 13 RVs. The Texas fire burned more than 1,500 acres and claimed 4 homes. The eyes that watch these fires see now the impact of their work.
We are very fortunate no lives were lost. Very thankful to the limited damage, while extensive, the limited damage that was done. It could have been a lot worse.
In Nez Perce County, Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
Well, homelessness proved to be a big talker during Monday night's Spokane City Council meeting, but 2 agenda items took different approaches, with one establishing making being homeless a protected class, while the other would expand no camping zones. The first of the 2 to appear before Spokane City Council ended up being the first reading of an ordinance prohibiting illegal encampments from being within 1,000 feet of facilities offering comprehensive support services. That includes behavioral health facilities and addiction treatment facilities. It's an item that saw several people go up to the podium to comment.
I look at that and I will still say it's unconstitutional because people park, they camp at these places for their survival.
Addressing the prevalence of camping at locations around service providers is necessary now. It will be just as necessary in the years ahead when services are delivered at scattered site facilities across the city.
The night's meeting rounded out with the final reading on an ordinance aiming to make being homeless a protected class under the city code. According to city documents, the item would add housing status to the city's list of protected classes and create stronger protections against discriminatory hiring and employment practices, property rights, and privacy rights for people dealing with homelessness. This also saw a lot of public comment, leading to the council to initially consider deferring the ordinance indefinitely. Councilmember Lily Navarrete sponsored the item.
We have received a lot of pros, a lot of cons on this. This is a topic that it's hot right now.
Councilmember Michael Cathcart was not happy about the move, citing the upcoming election.
So to defer it indefinitely makes me strongly believe that we are in for a 13-week pause, and then this will come back shortly after the voters have voted.
All right. All those in favor of a motion to defer for 2 weeks, say aye.
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 Spokane City Council ended up deferring the ordinance for 2 weeks. Now, as I mentioned, this final reading ended up being the big item of the night, one that we will continue to follow, especially as this proposed ordinance moves on. Cody Proctor, KREM 2 News.
Well, we all know just how much cell phones have become a part of our lives, and that's no different than inside of the classrooms, and that's exactly why SPPS is trying to actively eliminate the use of cell phones during classroom hours. That's something they're going to continue to talk about at tonight's SPPS school board meeting. It's something they've talked about for months and done research on, and new changes could be taking place as soon as this new semester. Actually, those new changes would require all elementary and middle schools to be cell phone free during school hours, mandating students to keep the devices in their pockets or backpacks. High schools would follow similar standards, but phone usage would be allowed during passing periods, lunch hours, before and after school. I did get a chance to speak with SPPS Superintendent Dr. Adam Swinyard and the school board president Nikki Lockwood about these changes. They told me this is a move they feel will benefit the overall learning experience in Spokane.
As a community, we're going to work together on this as a community to help our kids adjust
to time and place. There's a time and place I can have my phone on and look at it. There's a time and place when it's not allowed. Our kids can do this. They can do it, and we can do it as a community if we work together.
Any potential changes would still allow students to keep their phones near them during school. Devices, however, won't be used during classroom time. Again, the SPS board will go over the changes in their weekly meeting tonight. An official vote to adapt the new policy is expected by their next meeting, August 28th. But for now, reporting outside of the SPS district office, Brandon T. Jones, KREM 2 News.
Parking has been a major issue for businesses like the Prohibition Gastro Pub. As you can see behind me, there are about 4 cars in front of the restaurant, which is all they're gonna get. Now, construction in this area and Spokane in general is not something new for the community.
We have 137 seats in the restaurant between the patio and the inside, and we have 5 parking spots out front.
That's the reason why Prohibition Gastro Pub is closing its doors at the end of August. After taking over the restaurant 3 years ago, owner Michael Wiley says he and the business hit the ground running with trying to serve the people of this community, whether that was through charity donations or helping those with food insecurity.
When everyone asked me why I was crazy, dumb enough, brave enough, risky enough, whatever you want to take it, whatever you wanted to call it, because there's a lot of different questions. Why would you buy a restaurant in the middle of the pandemic? And it's because of the community. It's because of the people.
When he first took over, Wiley says he had a great relationship with the owner of Silver Auction, who let them use their parking lot across the street. But eventually, Silver Auction sold that property, and that is when the construction on these apartments started.
So immediately enclosed the entire block with, fences. So we lost the parking spots that were in the parking lot. We lost a tremendous amount of street parking. And then, of course, the guys doing construction need a place to park. So what little parking was left, we lose those too.
And while this chapter in his life is closing, it doesn't mean that he's going to stop helping the community.
There's been a lot of love that goes into this place, and we're just grateful for the chance to be of service.
Wiley tells me as much as it was an emotional feeling to close this chapter in his life, it was practical for the challenges that the restaurant was facing. Christian Garza, KREM 2 News.
A big announcement from a Spokane staple. Don Poffenroth, founder of Dry Fly Distilling, the state's first distillery since Prohibition, making it public. He has sold a majority stake in the company that he started 17 years ago.
So a passing of the torch, so to speak, and at the same time, a partnership, or we call it a marriage now, made in spirits heaven, I think is the term, with Wagner Family of Wines and Charlie.
The partnership will be with Charlie Wagner of Camus Vineyards out of California. Poffenroth says the move's been in the works for months now, and the relationship with the Wagners dates back even farther.
Gotten to the point where I'm getting old and it's time for me to retire, and at the same time looking for whatever the best possible partner could be for us moving forward.
Yeah, this just kind of came to be very organically, I'd say.
While Wagner says his expertise lies in wine, he has been collaborating with Dry Fly for years on specialty projects. In the future, he hopes to bring more Dry Fly products to market while staying true to their inland Northwest roots.
We have family in St. John that grow wheat. They're wheat farmers, and been there for 112 years. So we have a connection here too. We don't want to change a thing. This is a crown jewel, I think, of Spokane.
But he does hope to expand Dry Fly's national footprint and potentially add to Dry Fly's growing list of ready-to-drink cocktails that have soared in popularity. Longtime employee and now Dry Fly president Patrick Donovan says he is excited for the future.
This is a big step for us to realize what we all think the potential of Dry Fly can be, and this helps us get there, and it helps us add more staff, add more crew as we grow and get bigger and really represent, like I said, our community and what we've been doing.
As for Poffenroth, he plans to stay connected to the distillery, but he's looking forward to more fishing in his future, and he is confident Dry Fly will continue to thrive in the city where it started.
I don't ever see Dry Fly leaving Spokane.
In Spokane, I'm Mark Hanrahan.
I'm as excited to see what happens as anyone else is.
For KREM 2 News.
This upcoming semester, Spokane Public Schools is introducing tackle football to its middle school programs here in Spokane. So already people are excited about it. More than 100 students are signed up for the teams this coming semester. And then they also have purchased equipment. They've gone ahead and gotten all of their gear prepped. And then of course, they're also asking people to sign up to be some coaches for the middle school program as the new season approaches. There's an active posting on the SPS website with that application if you're interested in becoming a coach and leading these young students in the right direction. This year, there's going to be 2 new teams that will serve as a feeder program for North Central and Rogers. That's 4 overall middle schools that have access to the teams. Next year, SPS hopes to expand with their feeder programs to all 5 local high schools. But for now, it's an opportunity to grow, and it's something high school coaches in the area are also looking forward to, especially getting involved with that recruitment of the coaches.
And obviously, we want to make sure that we have guys that want to be here. And you know, they understand that it's not just about them, but it's about the kids. There's always life lessons. You know, one of those avenues that they can use through football, what can apply through life.
So each middle school team will have 3 to 4 coaches on the staff. Yesterday, SPS held its first ever coaching clinic to prepare staff across the district for a new school year. Some of the topics discussed were leadership, medical, and mental performance. But again, if you're interested in applying for one of these coaching positions, just go ahead and go over to the SPS website and fill out an application. But for now, reporting here in Spokane, Brandon T. Jones, KREM 2 News.
Thank you for joining us on KREM 2 Plus for a look at some of the biggest news stories of the past week. For the most current news throughout the weekend, you can watch our latest newscast here on KREM 2 Plus. Just look for it at the bottom of the navigation menu. I'm Tim Pham. Thanks for watching.